Sweet. My name is Cobi. I come from Minnesota. From Grand Marais, Minnesota, in the United States. That's where I was born. Really small town. It's almost by the border of Canada. It's on the northern side of Lake Superior. And it's where I was born and raised and grew up. But now I currently live in Los Angeles. Well, I'm an independent recording artist, so I do all my own records in my own studio. I play all the instruments. I do all the producing. I do the mixing. And I'm always working on new music all the time, and always trying to put out some new music. Just put out a new song a few weeks ago. It's called Music is Healing, which I think is a really beautiful song. So always records coming out. And I have a catalog of music. I've been putting out records under my own solo project since 2016. So I think there's about 50 songs up on my Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you like to listen or stream. And there's more coming all the time. So. Well, I got into music at a pretty young age. My mom had a guitar. She had an old Yamaha, I think probably she bought in the 70s. And I guess my musical journey really started with that and just listening to her sing and play guitar when I was a kid. She had a beautiful voice and played really nice finger-picking stuff. Yeah, I mean, she played House the Rising Sun. That was one she'd always sit down and play. Or like a cool little song like Freight Train coming down this track. It was probably like a kid's song or something. But those are two I remember specifically. The House of the Rising Sun always stood out. She was my first, definitely my first introduction to the guitar, and she had the Yamaha acoustic in the house. So that's really what I started on. I started on her Yamaha acoustic, which had a dreadful action on it. Like it was, the strings were probably that high off the neck, you know? So, but I technically started on that guitar. There was a family friend who brought over an electric guitar one day. I think it was a Fender Strat, but it was sparkly blue and it had mother of pearl pickguard on it. And it was beautiful. And I remember he taught me how to play, I think it was like just a, major chord, just like this kind of voicing, this kind of fingering on it. And he just taught me to move it up and down the neck and taught me to jam with just a couple chords. And I remember feeling like, oh, I can play guitar just with that one day. I really wanted to get my own electric guitar. I started working mowing lawns for all my neighbors. And I worked all summer mowing lawns. I saved up probably about $200 to $300. And my mom took me down to the city, took me to a guitar shop there, and I bought my first Squire Strat. Yeah. And then it was just, that's about all I could get. Yeah. My inspiration really came from a lot of blues guitar players at the time, because also my mom took me to see a lot of blues artists like Buddy Guy, and we'd go to blues festivals. I saw Jimmy Vaughn and a bunch of other like cool local blues players and stuff in Duluth, Minnesota. There was a blues festival there every summer that my mom always went to. So yeah, I got really into guitar players, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, Sun Seals, George Benson, John Scofield, so many. And then a lot of rock bands too, like Black Sabbath I fell in love with, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, the Yardbirds, and Jimi Hendrix, of course, tons of Hendrix. Hendrix was a big one. My demons at the door. Told them they are welcome here anymore. Yeah, well, once I started listening to records and just learning by ear, just listening. I remember there was Derek and the Dominoes record that I listened to with Eric Clapton, and he was doing a cover of Have You Ever Loved a Woman? And I remember just sitting there and learning his solo little bit by bit. You know, I didn't know where anything was on the neck because, you know, on guitar, you can play the same note on like 5 different plays. You can play F here, the same F here, here. You know, those are all the same notes with slightly different tones. So learning by ear, I didn't really know where he was on the neck, but I started just learning by ear, you know, just picking up the notes, and then slowly but surely I started piecing together. And then also we had VHS tapes, and there was this cool record store in Duluth, which was about 2-hour drive from me, which is like the nearest city. Taped of like a video of Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatever, and I would watch their concerts and watch what they were doing, and then I started piecing together like where they were on the neck and like how they were phrasing certain things. And yeah, and I just was playing all the time. You gotta make it right. And I haven't bought any new guitars lately because I got like 7 or 8 guitars, and there's already too many guitars for me to take care of and change the strings on and all that stuff. So, but I'd really love a nylon string acoustic. I used to have one, but it got broke. I'd love a Martin, like I said. I'd really love to get a vintage 1960 something or 1970 something Strat along with a vintage amp, like a Princeton or something like that, or a Vibra Lux or something like that. But I do have an American Strat, a Silver Burst American Strat that I use for electric that I love. A couple Strats, and then also I have a D'Angelico as well, which is a beautiful guitar. Yeah. Oh, I went to see the gypsy to ask her what the future had. There's one guitar I wish I could get back. I did have a 1970 Antigua Strat that got stolen when I was on tour a few years ago. And I was really, really bummed because it was one of the most beautiful guitars I think I'd ever seen. And it sounded great, and it got stolen, and wah wah, so I would love to have that back. I want it all sometimes, 'cause I can't get enough of love no matter. Well, I think, yeah, you know, like Hendrix style is really kind of home base for me on guitar. I think like one of the riffs that always stick with me is like his Castles Made of Sand riff. You know, the way he would do triads and inversions and double stops and play up and down the neck, just the way he would do those things. I think that's... This life, you got to let some people go, you gotta let them die. I want it all sometimes. I'm in Paris. I'm lucky enough to be in Paris. I have some concerts here. Doing the Mama Festival on October 17th in Paris, and some other shows around country. Nancy Pulsations doing that here this week, and just coming here for some shows. Wait. Okay, this song I just released in April. It's called Make It Right.